Well, welcome back to another Dynodaze video. As you can see, a black EP3 for a second sitting. It's had more modifications, so it's time to do a bit of tuning. Here we go. Black EP3.
Yes. Seen this car before?
We have seen it before, haven't we? But since then, he's fitted an M2 inlet manifold and come back for a remap. Now, whilst we have made power at the top end, we have lost a little bit in the mid-range, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a mixture of both. I'd say we've probably lost more than we've gained here. Now, the sort of problem is that when you use, say, the M2 manifold, which aren't the best castings, they don't line up very the best the ports and stuff. I mean, certainly compared to a Skunk 2 manifold or an RRC, you can see a whopping, or the RBC as well, you can see a whopping difference in the port sizes, and the alignment of the ports are obviously a lot better. Now, that starts to say that you don't generally lose in the mid-range, because you do. You generally would probably say you'd sometimes lose around 10 brake in the mid-range, and you gain 10 brake at the top end. In this particular instance, we've lost sort of in and around the VTec changeover. We've lost just after the VTec changeover. It's leveled up, probably lost again for 1,000 RPM, and then we've about the last 1,000 RPM we really have gained, and it's unlocked some power at the very top.
I think we've gone from 225 peak to 233.
Yeah, so we've gone up, so 8 brake horsepower, but really you've only gained that in the last 1,000 RPM, and you've almost been the same or lost everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think part of that is down to the modification on the car. It's got the Tegra letterbox airbox on it. It's got a standard throttle body on it still. I think that where this would benefit would be a Skunk 2 Pro or Ultra Series.
It's actually got a custom like midsection mated to a M2 back box.
Yeah, so again, the exhaust
really help, because the jack speed 4:1 is fine in this application.
Yeah, it is.
So
certainly.
make that to a Tegra 70mm, and you're there or thereabouts with these.
So again, the exhaust may be hurting it, or hurt. The M2 hasn't hurt anything, but obviously the exhaust is probably not brilliant, and then you fill in the exhaust up, which again could contribute to some of the losses that we've seen. So yeah, definitely swap to a Tegra 70mm in my opinion on this. I would spend the money on a Skunk 2.
I know, yeah.
A Skunk 2 manifold.
They're twice as expensive.
Yeah, but they're twice the manifold though, aren't they? That's the thing.
That's right. I mean, you pay your money, you take your chance, don't you, with these things?
The thing is for me, and this is the way I always word it, it's like the RRC. If you put a Skunk 2 Pro Series on a FN2, and then you swap to an RRC on an FN2, there's 10 brake horsepower in it. Now, my argument is those both manifolds are roughly probably around the same sort of money. So you're going to pick the one that makes the best power.
To be fair, after cams on my FN2, I went from an M2 inlet manifold to an RRC.
Yeah, you did.
And it allowed us an extra 14 brake horsepower.
Yeah.
Two manifolds, you know.
Well, that was a back-to-back swap as well, wasn't it?
Back-to-back swap. We'd already done the tuning for the cams.
Yeah, we'd already done the tuning with everything that it got on the cams.
And the only modification we made was we took the M2 inlet manifold off, and we put the RRC inlet manifold off, and it unlocked, obviously with tuning, but it unlocked 14 brake horsepower.
Yeah, my point is, though, the previous tune, no more tuning would have gained any more power.
No,
so there was nothing more to be had. So it did. The inlet manifold allowed...
Like for like.
Yeah, a like for like allowed another 14 114 brake horsepower, and that's down to flow. So yeah, I think that's possibly, you know, obviously things that it's worth looking into. Inlet manifolds do make a big difference on these cars, and you know, whilst the M2s are considerably cheaper, I understand that, but I think that you're definitely not getting the same level of quality. If you basically, even if you just take the standard Type R gasket, or if you were to go and fit one, or you were about to fit one, take the standard gasket, line it up to the ports on the manifold, and you'll see exactly what I mean as to how far they're actually off. And then obviously if that's obstructing slightly on the run in,
of course, there's less flow in there.
There's less flow. It's just going to cost you power.
Well, let's show them on the graph exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's go and have a look.
Okay, so this is what we're talking about. Red line is as she came in, blue line is as she leaves, which is unusual for us, but here we go. We'll try to explain it. As you can see, the M2 inlet manifold has lost us to start with, and then at the very last 1,000 RPM we have gained some wheel horsepower and some brake horsepower, as you can see. We finish on 233 brake horsepower from 225, and we're up at the wheels from 191 to 199.
Do want to add that on this low end here where we're down, the clutch was slipping here.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the clutch was slipping top end, didn't seem to, but definitely on this low end where we were trying to do it. So I've been having to bring that in gradually at the bottom end, so we're not obviously causing any more clutch damage. Sure.
Well, there we go. Another one in the bag. Like and subscribe and all that jazz, and we'll see you on the next one, won't we, Rich?
We will.
Before, and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.